Global TV News Express. Nigeria Center for Disease Control issues public health alert as cholera, dengue, mpox, diphtheria spread nationwide. In Business Federation, a counter allocation committee disburses 1.818 trillion naira to federal, state and local governments for June 2025 revenue. In other foreign scene, Democratic Republic of Congo, M23 rebels signed ceasefire deal ahead of August peace talks. And finally, from the world of sport, Nigeria's Super Falcons trash Zambia 5-0 to reach 2024 WAFCON semi-finals. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. And now the news in full. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the appointment of Muhammad Babangida, son of former military president General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, as the new chairman of the Bank of Agriculture. The announcement was made in a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. The statement also listed 8 others who have been appointed to lead key federal government institutions. Among the new appointees are Lydia Kalat Musa, who will head the Oil and Gas Free Zone Authority, Jamilu Wada Aliyu appointed as the head of the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council, and Sanusi Garba Rikiji named Executive Secretary, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Office for Trade Negotiations. The federal government has issued a public health alert warning of active outbreak of cholera, dengue fever, yellow fever, mpox, and diphtheria across the country. According to the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, that is NCDC, cholera has spread to 24 states, with Zamfara alone accounting for 32% of cases, while dengue and yellow fever have been confirmed in states including Edo, Lagos, and Rivers. This NCDC warned that Nigeria risks a major health crisis unless all stakeholders intensify response efforts and citizens adopt strict preventive measures. The Labour Party has decided and dissolved the leadership of Barrister Julius Abure in line with the April 14 Supreme Court ruling that declared the expiration of his tenure. The party says it's taking steps to restructure its leadership and prepare for upcoming elections following a critical decision by its National Executive Council. Our correspondent Aniete Patrick reports.
At its National Executive Council meeting held in Abuja, the Labour Party says it has ratified the appointment of a new interim national working committee and released a fresh timetable for congresses at all levels. The council unanimously endorsed Senator Nenadi Usman as interim national chairman, with Senator Danlitin Nkwacha stepping in as interim national secretary. Together, they are to lead the interim national working committee tasked with repositioning the party and ensuring credible internal elections. The party also reaffirmed its commitment to internal democracy and called on INEC and security agencies to remain neutral.
The NEC, statutory NEC, having empowered the Interim National Working Committee, we will issue a communique and write to INEC, just like we wrote to INEC a month before today, on the 18th of July, to say this meeting was going to hold. INEC acknowledged it. So also I would appeal to distinguished Senator Darlington Wokocha to cause letters to be written to INEC about this meeting and then about recognition of our candidates for the different runoff or by-elections that will be happening any moment from now.
The setting up of interim in all the states, local government and wards.
Yes.
Just like the governor said, and we all agree, we have one objective, are only making emphasis on the mandate of the national interim.
Status of Labour Party participation in upcoming elections. The NEC reviewed the status of the party's participation in the forthcoming Anambra gubernatorial election and various schedules by elections in senatorial districts and federal constituencies across the country.
Also speaking, the National Labour Congress President Joe Ajaero called on workers, traders and artisans to take ownership of the party, emphasizing that the Labour Party remains the voice of the ordinary Nigerians.
The NLC at its last leg in Yola agreed that there is need to restructure this party. Immediate need. Restructure it, go into coalition, rebrand, whatever form, that's the mandate given to us for this party to work. Workers' Party. And to that, I will urge every Nigerian to reach out to the liberal class, the working people, the farmers, traders, and all artisans to own the party that it is their party.
Key resolutions for the National Executive Council include a timeline forward to national congresses, nationwide membership revalidation and registration, and a firm stance on fielding credible candidates in all elections. Annie T. Patrick, Global Television News.
Still on politics, some members of the opposition recently joined forces to form the African Democratic Congress, that is ADC. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, once a relatively quiet player in national politics, is now raising the stakes against the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC. Can the ADC defeat the APC in 2027? In this report, our correspondent Ubong Osoro asks citizens of the opinion about the new party. Now the report.
Nigeria's political history is filled with dramatic power shifts, from the dominance of the PDP for 16 years to the emergence of the APC in 2015. Now eyes are on whether another shift is coming. In July 2025, opposition heavyweights including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Labour Party's Peter Obi, former Senate President David Mark, and former governors Ralph Arabiola and Rotimi Amechi united under the ADC platform. The coalition chose ADC as its vehicle to challenge APC's grip on power in 2027, citing the need to prevent one-party dominance and to present a united front. David Mark now serves as interim national chairman, while Arabiola as interim secretary. Founded in 2005, the ADC had previously maintained a modest presence in national politics, but this recent coalition has breathed new life into the party, turning it into a centerpiece of opposition strategy ahead of the next elections.
It's not possible for them to unseat the sitting government. What are the reasons? This is a government, the candidate, which before now, he was not in the system like being the government, but he find his way to become the sitting president. So you know, there is a way the Nigerian politics work. It is not possible you just come and unseat a sitting president.
Observers say the move mirrors the 2015 alliance that brought APC to power. The question is, can history repeat itself?
I don't think they will be able to win APC, because when a man who has not been in the seat can be able to win and come over, now that he's sitting, I don't think they will win him, because he has every power to put everything in place as soon as it concerns his growth in the office.
If they do the right thing, I believe they will collect it. What is there that they're supposed to zone it the place supposed to be, that is south. It's turn of south. It's 8 years. So if they zone it to the south, understand? Let's assume that they give it to the south, south will run for it. But if we go to north, definitely they will lose it.
As preparations for 2027 intensify, the real battle may be between the old guards and a united opposition seeking to disrupt the status quo. Ubong Usoro for Global TV.
World leaders, activists and citizens converge in Abuja to reaffirm the commitment to democratic value in Nigeria and call for transparency, accountability and inclusive governance on the global stage. Samuel Odi reports.
Ahead of International Conference on Democracy in a show of unity aimed rising global authoritarianism, heads of states, civil society leaders, and human rights advocates called for urgent collaborative actions to defend fundamental freedom, uphold transparent governance, and restore public trust in domestic institutions worldwide.
What must African democracy look like in the age of digital disruption, youthful surges, and global uncertainty? How do we forge robust institutions, build credible elections, and entrench accountability, not rhetorically, but in deeds and not dollars? How do we ensure that our economic systems foster sovereignty, that our social contracts are vibrant, and that every African voice, women, youth, rural, urban, finds her place in our democracy?
The program director, Godson Mwankwo, said African leaders owe it to the young people who comprises of the vibrant heart of society to build institutions that are both inclusive and enduring. He further stated that African youths also owe it to the elders to honor the wisdom that has carried Africans thus far, and to our children the promise of a continent unvaccinated from dependency.
When we have this conversation, we realize that our founding fathers faced this same challenge. And the vision of the founding fathers that came together when they formed the AU was to open up Africa, to unite Africa so that we can be united among ourselves. We're a continent of 1.4 billion people with a potential market of $3 trillion. But because of these fragmented borders and closed systems, we cannot explore this potential.
With present challenges and hopeful possibilities ahead, this conference stands as both a reflection of relying points for the future of democracy. Samuel Odi reporting for Global Television News.
Former Liberian President George Weah says late former President of Nigeria Muhammadu Buhari contributed to the success of his administration as a president. The former Liberian president stated this while signing the condolence register for the late former president at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja. Global Television reports. We'll bring you that report in our subsequent bulletin. A former anti-apartheid leader and ex-president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, has been described as an exemplary leader whose selfless and visionary leadership not only abolished oppression in his home country, but left a lasting impact on the global stage. With July 18 each year set aside by the United Nations to honor Mandela's legacy, some Nigerians have highlighted outstanding attributes that separated the former Liberian leader from conventional politicians on the continent. Zarau Nasir reports.
In spite of his royal background, Nelson Mandela dedicated his life to anti-apartheid causes, a journey that sent him to prison for 27 years. At the end of his incarceration on Robben Island, he became South Africa's first black elected president, settling for a single term. Chinedu Okfola, an electoral reforms advocate, says Mandela defied all odds, including death, in his determination to bring desired change to South Africa, forgiving those who hurt him in the process.
Nelson Mandela showed the African person that it was possible to fight and to win, because a whole lot of people were scared of maybe even being in prison, maybe death. But he proved that it was possible to defy the thought of death. And then also, when you come to his life, you could find out that even after Nelson Mandela had become leader, he proved that you don't have to pay back evil to those who had done you evil. Nelson Mandela signified the African spirit.
This youth policy advocate, Godson Nwaku, describes Madiba, as he was fondly called, as the ideal kind of leader that the African continent needs at this point in its socio-political evolution.
Nelson Mandela represents the idea of a leader that we want in Africa. Somebody that is selfless, somebody that has empathy, somebody that has vision, for a great continent. So the life and history of Nelson Mandela is something that is so dear to me, because to me he represents that idea.
Speaking on Global TV's breakfast program, Global Morning, Mandy Wilson, a governance development and policy specialist, said Mandela exemplified accountability, driving the unity of South Africans as his top priority.
The qualities that Mandela embodies and even transmitted before he was in office, during the struggle, while he was in office, are quite rare, and uncommon, because he showed that, look, I will come, I need to bring my people together. It's a form of accountability.
Nelson Mandela died on December 5, 2013, at the age of 95. However, his legacy continues to set a standard for governance and leadership on the African continent and beyond. Zahra Nasser, reporting for Global TV News.
In a bid to promote inclusive education and reduce the number of out-of-school girls, Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal has flagged off the disbursement of conditional cash transfer to 8,225 adolescent girls across the state. The event held in Gusau, the state capital, marks a significant milestone in the implementation of the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Agile, Agro, Climatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscape. Zarau Nasir has details.
Access to education remains a major challenge for adolescent girls in Zamfara State and across northern Nigeria. Issues such as poverty, early marriage, insecurity, long distances to schools, and gender-based barriers have forced many girls out of the classroom, limiting their future prospects. Governor Dauda Lawal, while speaking at the event, said the disbursement of conditional cash transfers to 8,225 secondary school girls is part of his administration's broader efforts to strengthen education, promote social inclusion, and empower vulnerable populations across the 14 local government areas of the state. He noted that the beneficiaries were carefully selected from low-income and underserved communities.
These girls, selected from the poorest and most vulnerable households, will receive 40,000 to support their continued enrollment and transition through school.
Permanent Secretary, Multilateral and Donor Agencies Saadatu Abdu Gusau says the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Agile project seeks to address these challenges by providing both financial and infrastructural support to encourage school enrollment, retention, and completion among girls, especially those from poorest households.
As we symbolically flag off the disbursement of funds to beneficiaries of two transformative initiatives.
One of the students' beneficiaries, Hawa Abdurrahman, thanked the state government for the intervention and pledged that the girls in Zamfara will rise to the occasion and make the state proud.
Finally, I, on behalf of the entire Zamfara State girls and students, appreciate your effort, Your Excellency, for giving opportunity to projects like this.
The event also included symbolic presentations to beneficiaries of the AgriCell projects, targeting environmental sustainability, rural livelihoods, and climate resilience. Zahra Nasser, reporting for Global TV.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. News Express returns after this break. Stay with us. Mpox and diphtheria across the country. In business, the Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) has disbursed a total of 1.818 trillion naira to the federal, state, and local governments as revenue for June 2025, reflecting a 159 billion naira increase from May's 1,659 trillion naira. And on the foreign scene, the Congolese government and M23 rebels have signed a ceasefire agreement that mandates the withdrawal of rebel forces from occupying areas and the restatement of national institutions, with a permanent peace deal expected to follow by early August. And in sports, the Super Falcons of Nigeria delivered a dominant performance to crush Zambia 5-0 in the Women's African Cup of Nations WAFCON 2024 quarter-final in Casablanca. That's it on Global TV News Express. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thank you for watching.